Good morning, Carol. Can you speak about you?
Yes, thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to thank you, Olivier Boni, and the organization ESMA-Crossroads for the invitation to come to Belgium and to speak about my work and to help the organization grow. So I am Carol Silverman. I'm a professor emerita, recently retired from the University of Oregon in the United States, and I also am on the board of directors of Voice of Roma, which is a nonprofit organization supporting Roma culture. And you'd like to know about my background and how I came to do this work. I'm Jewish. My grandparents are from Ukraine. I'm not Romani, but from young years I became interested in Balkan music through folk dancing, actually as a dancer and as a singer, and I started getting interested in village music, and my first trip to the Balkans was 1971, and immediately in all of the summers I went for language training, for festivals, I saw that Roma are the best and the majority of professional musicians. And this was interesting to me because I saw prejudice on the ground, but necessary music at festivals, weddings, but also discrimination from the States, from Bulgaria. This was during socialism. And I became more interested in learning about the people behind the music. Not only the dances and the songs, but the life histories of the people and the relationship between music and state policy, what was allowed on a festival, what wasn't, because in socialism you did not see in Bulgaria Roma music. There was a lot of prohibitions in the 1980s. So I got interested in the politics, in the economics, how musicians are professionals, it's their salary, they support whole villages with their music, the transmission of music from father to son, the role of women in music, even if they're not on stage, very often they are supporting their families and understand the music, and certain women were able to actually break into the music career, such as Esma Rajepova. I'll talk about that later.
Can you summarize any of the theses or analyses that your research and numerous travels have led you to produce?
Yes, well, I started out looking at Roma music from the point of view of community members. So going to villages and cities with musicians to their weddings, to their circumcisions, baptisms, all of the events where Roma are necessary to see what the world looks like from Roma perspective. I feel it's very important now as a non-Roma person to actually work with Roma so that they are having the voice and I am documenting what they feel is important. Now, when I started 30, 40 years ago, this was during the socialist period. It was very interesting to compare Yugoslavia to Bulgaria, for example, and even the different parts of Yugoslavia, Macedonia, Kosovo, Serbia. And I saw which Roma, for example, were invited to festivals, what they did on the stage, what the repertoire was, and the challenges that they faced. And then after 1989, after the wars in Yugoslavia, after the fall of communism, I have followed the musicians in post-socialism to see what happens when you have a kind of wild capitalism that privileges only certain kinds of musicians and certain kinds of businesses, and Roma music in a sense had more freedom, but also had lots of challenges in that period. And then families, I have followed families to America, some from Macedonia that started traveling in the 1960s during the period of the sponsorship of gurbet, traveling abroad to send remittances home. But many, many families came after 1991, after the wars, after the fall of communism, and then later in the 90s after the wars in Yugoslavia. And from the point of view of different migration sites in the diaspora, you can actually see what is going on with music repertoire and also the movement of musicians and people. For example, now Roma from the Balkans are a transnational people. They live in Western Europe in many locations. Here in Belgium, I am learning about all the different Roma from the Balkans here. Plus, in America, I've also been to Australia in Roma communities, in Canada, Toronto in Roma communities. Today you can see that the repertoire is actually more homogeneous than before because of social media. So a song, a hit comes out for the summer season, immediately everybody in the diaspora is requesting it at weddings. So musicians use YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, all of these media to stay in touch. So I'm looking at the changes in music, but also the relationship to their profession. What are the professional challenges that they face? How do they get a contract for a world music festival? And I've seen quite a lot of inequality in some of these settings, especially when non-Roma business people are in charge. So some of these challenges I am documenting.
As a musicologist, you go against the tide of methodological nationalism, which is taking place in the Balkans. Can you expand on this a little?
Yes, this is a very important topic, the rise of neo-nationalism, xenophobia, populist parties on the right. And these movements are very dangerous, not only for Roma, but for all minorities. These neo-nationalists are demonizing, they make into enemies not only Roma, but Muslims and LGBTQ people, gender studies, all migrants, Syrians, Afghanis. They have created a discourse and an atmosphere of fear, which is very dangerous for European democracy. And to me, it is a very important moment that we can claim multiculturalism and tolerance. And for Roma, they have double, triple types of challenges because many of them are Muslims, dark-skinned people, migrants. Plus you have the old stereotypes about Roma being criminals, being thieves, being lazy. They are accused of abusing social welfare. All of these are exaggerated claims. They do not correspond to the facts. But many people, ordinary people, believe them. So to me, it is very important that we have a counter discourse to this. We have a reclamation of multiculturalism through culture and through facts. So Roma activists are fighting for this today. I work with them. Roma cultural advocates, such as ESMA organization, are fighting to show the truth about the richness of the culture and about Roma being hard-working people who want to work, who want to have documents, who want to get jobs, who want education. There are so many stereotypes that we have to fight. That Roma don't want to get educated? Absolutely not true. But many people still believe this. Many people still believe these stereotypes. And they are reinforced in literature, popular culture, cartoons, and by these very dangerous political parties. So it is up to us to mount a struggle to reclaim the public stage.
Yeah. And what is the consequence to the development of methodological nationalism of what you present in your major work, Romani Roots, for understanding the trajectories of Roma musicians in the context of the diaspora and globalization of migrations?
Yeah, well, in my first book, Romani Roots, and in my current work, I have lots of other things, I am showing the real life of Roma, not only musicians but community members as well, as hardworking people. In fact, sometimes the people in the communities tell me, you don't write about music anymore, write about our doctors, our lawyers, our professionals, because people need to know about that. And so I've written about women, especially in the United States, from Macedonian Roma communities who are excelling in education, in accounting, in bankers. I mean, it's really amazing to see in one generation how Roma society is becoming educated everywhere in the diaspora. So I think it's very important, again, to give a picture of Roma communities plus musicians who are so necessary for cultural life. You cannot imagine European folk music, its history, without Roma. Roma are necessary in many genres of European folk music, especially Eastern Europe. It's impossible to even write the history of folk music in Eastern Europe without Roma. And people need to know this. And this, again, builds against the stereotypes and against neo-nationalism to accept people in a tolerant environment. So I'm hoping to open a window so people can actually see the lived experience of Roma, ordinary community members, professionals, and musicians, in order to have a better, open, equal society.
What place does ESMA-Carrefour have in the history of Roma music in the second half of the 20th century in Europe or in the rest of the world?
Well, this is a very important topic because ESMA is an icon. She is the most famous Roma singer in the world, I would say. And her path shows how a woman from a poor neighborhood, a poor family, became a world star. Not just by luck, but by hard work, and also her message about multiculturalism, acceptance. So ESMA started out and was, in a sense, discovered by her husband, Stevo Teodosievsky, and they worked together to establish a career on the concert stages to show that Roma are not only wedding musicians, but also can exist in the elite world of art, the highest levels of art. And she became a voice not only for Roma, but learned the songs of every ethnicity in Yugoslavia, and then reached out to all the Balkan nations, Turkish language songs, Bulgarian, Greek.
Albanian.
She made the first trip to India, the homeland of Roma, by car with her musicians, driving through Iran and Afghanistan in the 1970s. Nobody ever did that. And then she realized that Roma are a diaspora population. She was again invited back to India and given a title there by Indira Gandhi, and continued her work throughout Europe. She is known everywhere. Her last trip to America in 2016, right before she died, people from every nationality from Eastern Europe were lining up to see her as an icon, to kiss her, to bow down in front of her, because she represented a certain ideal of multiculturalism. And she also did humanitarian work throughout her life. Thousands of benefit concerts for poor people after earthquakes, after national disasters, floods, for disabled children. And she also ran a school with her husband where they trained over 40 young and poor people, not only Roma, including Macedonians, to teach them music and to start their careers. And all of them have succeeded, including here in Belgium, Simeon Atanasov and Eleonora Mustafovska, who was her only female student and became her protege and has launched her career. And to me, I think that is really, really important to invest in the next generation, not only to support yourself, but to support young people and to send them out with the message of Roma music and also wider Balkan music.
I didn't take time to show you this picture. You know about what is this context? It's in USA.
God, wow.
They make a road trip in USA, I think in 1982.
Yes, that was
with
the first
Shadan
trip.
Sakip, Esma and Stevo. They take a trailer and
Oh,
they
Shadan,
travel
yeah.
maybe 1 year in, can you show to the camera? 1 year in USA. Closer. And they make a road trip with music. They make concert from one city to another, and it was really a unique strategy to travel, to discover, and to promote Roma music. Did you have heard about this?
Yes, I heard about this because when I met Esma was 1997, I believe, with her husband, with Stevo. They came to America, but Esma, they had been there before. It was not their first trip. But in 1997, we sponsored them for seminars to teach at 2 music camps. And we were very, very happy. Actually, Esma came the next year as well after Stevo died for the music camps. With Stevo, it was just concerts. But I was very, very lucky to meet Stevo his last years before he passed away. And we're very lucky that Esma decided to continue her career with Simeon after Stevo died. And she came to America to teach us at music camps. We were very, very lucky.
So to keep on this path, you have met Esma Rejepova on numerous occasions in Macedonia, in festival or concert, in Europe and in the USA. Can you share with us a memory that marked you